Right, sorry about that, everyone. If you've just tuned in or were watching our live broadcast a minute ago, it got interrupted. Sorry about that. We are back live again with Christoph Weber, race director, and Jürgen Wietrzyk. Did I pronounce that correctly?
Yeah, it's good. Yeah.
Yeah. How do you say it?
Yeah, Wietrzyk.
Wietrzyk. Anyway, let's set this up. And so we were talking just about the big news today, which is poor old Gaspar Petiot. Can you tell us a little bit about what happened there?
Yeah, unfortunately, Gaspar was hit by a light wind gust, and it's not a big thing for paragliders like they are, but it was enough for a rough landing, and yeah, unfortunately he broke his ankle, his wrist here,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, it's the game is over for him.
That's sad news, and he's not the only one this year. I mean, we've had Antoine Girard and many guys pulling out with injury. I think. Do you think maybe the first couple of days, just all that hiking on the road, also has made life very difficult for the athletes?
Of course, walking a lot always makes life difficult for the athletes, but also flying a lot makes it difficult, because when you imagine that they are hours and hours in the air, and they are not resting up there. They have to always to fly their gliders, and that's also very exhausting. So it doesn't matter that much.
Yeah. As the safety director, what is it that you tell the athletes? Are there things that you tell the athletes to advise them on how to manage the safety? What is the sort of feeling? Is it that they are super professional athletes and you leave it in their hands, or do you give them sort of guidelines?
I think the most important thing for the athletes is that they know that they don't draw off their attention from the main thing, and the main thing is their flying abilities. And so I tell them to fade out media. I tell them to try to fade out the spectators and all this stuff, so that they really can focus on their flying capability, as if they would fly completely on their own, because then they are taking the best decisions.
I mean, that's a good point. I mean, I remember actually Gaspar, one of the takeoffs, saying, feeling the pressure. Or they are under the spotlight. I mean, just today on the top of Monte Baldo, Paul Guschelbauer, and there's not a lot of privacy either. When you've come off a flight or you've run up a mountain, you want to take your clothes off, strip off, maybe have a pee and a bite to eat, and there's lots of everyone's just families watching you. It must be quite tough, really.
Well, that's exactly the point, and all those things draw off their attention from their flying capabilities.
Yeah. So, guys. What's your most impressive feat? Is there something that an athlete has done this race where you've just thought, wow, either in the air or on the ground?
To me, the most impressive thing is that our athletes always keep the spirit up high, because they experience so much moments which are really frustrating for them when they try to fly over a mountain range, and they cannot. They have to go down to the valley floor, and then they have to climb up 1,000 meters or more, and every one of them experiences things like that a couple of times, and they don't lose their spirit about that, and that's for me the most expressive thing.
Yeah, and they don't lose the spirit even if they are 200 kilometers or more behind the first one, and that's impressive. They go for it under full power, and it doesn't matter on what place of the ranking they are really going for it with all their energy they have, and that's really impressive.
Yeah, and specifically, Christoph, you said earlier that you were quite impressed by this glide off Monte Baldo. Can you elaborate on that?
I said something else. I was today in the morning. The day started wonderfully because there were 4 guys flying out from the Brenta, which is more than 20 kilometers away from here. They were taking off. They're quite high, more than 2,000 meter high was their takeoff point. and then they flew for more than half an hour only in a very soft glide. And yeah, Simon was even landing quite close to the lake, and it's a totally change of scenery coming from the high mountains, landing there at the Lake Garda, and I was impressed, and I could watch them flying by, and it was a wonderful start of the day.
We got a question from, oh, I just missed who it was from, but someone was asking about, what about your experience of the race? How is it for you guys? Do you get any sleep? Do you actually get to enjoy following the race, or are you just spinning awake all night, worried about things?
Yeah, of course, I think we get more sleep than the teams. But yeah, sometimes we are suffering with them. Sometimes we wish to be in their roles, because you know they are having the big adventure, and we are just we only can watch them. But sometimes we are glad that we are not in their shoes. You know, so it's very different.
Got a controversial question here from Hans. A lot of people don't understand the airspace infringement rule, and that this 48-hour penalty, which has affected 3 athletes now, Gryazov, Dodorlado, and also Pal Takats. They all have to sit out 48 hours.
Yeah.
Seems quite harsh. Can you explain what this rule is about?
Yeah, I mean, you know that there are airspaces where we are not allowed to fly into with the paragliders, because we risk some other aviation partner is going to have trouble because of us not respecting the rules, and this is a no-go to go into these airspaces. And in my eyes, 46 hours of course is a lot of penalty time we give for this, but it's something you cannot do. You are not allowed to go there and to risk that maybe another plane is crashing because of you flying in there. You are risking the life of somebody else, and seeing is from this point of view, I think 48 hours is not so much.
If you were betting men, who would you be putting on money now? To
make the second one.
With the second, yeah. Oh, is it already a given that Kriegel is now on a home run?
Yeah.
How long? When do you think he's going to make Monaco?
I think he will not reach it tomorrow, but the day after tomorrow.
So on Monday.
On Monday.
Yeah. But isn't bad weather forecast for this area where he's going into now, around the Matterhorn?
Yeah. There's bad weather forecast for tomorrow for this area, but the weather is coming from the west, and he is going into the west, so he will pass the weather quite fast, or the weather will pass him, because they move in 2 different directions, and I think he will not be affected for such a long time by this bad weather. And after the bad weather, he will find quite good flying conditions. Maybe very strong ones, very windy ones, but Kriegel is one of the guys who can deal very good with this. So I think he will have a fast end of the race.
Is that his secret, simply that he can fly in conditions that other people can't fly in?
This is one of the secrets, I guess.
What's the other one?
The other one is that he just sees where to go. He has the eyes of an eagle and the feeling of an eagle, that's just making the right decisions. Flying is much about making the right decisions, because you need to have a feeling how are the air currents flowing around the mountains, and where is it moving like this and like that, and you have to have the feeling, or you have to see it. You just look on the mountain and how the sun is shining on the mountain, how the wind is blowing, and then you know where do I have to go. And he's the one who, in my eyes, sees it best from now.
And what about these 2 other podium positions, 2nd and 3rd? It seems to be still very, very open. And now that Petiot has retired, well, it looks like it could be. I mean, Benoit Uters is in the running, and there are something like 8 athletes within 40 kilometers of each other.
All of them could be. Maybe Paul not, because he will be sitting the next 2 days on ground because of his penalty, but the others all have good chances for the 2nd place.
And what about you, Jürgen? Is there anyone you're got your money on?
Well, I'm crossing my fingers, especially for the young Austrian guys, of course, and for me it's impressing what good how good they fly. Yeah. We see it at the moment. Right at the moment, they are all in the air, and I hope that they got very far.
It is incredibly impressive when you think about it. You know, 7 days, day after day, hiking up to like 2,000, 3,000 meters, flying all day long, and also to think, you know, here we are, we're in, you know, Lake Garda. Kriegel is somewhere approaching Switzerland. Meanwhile, at the back of the field, you've got guys still approaching. I think around, you know, the Aschau Chiemsee. I think Duncan Coetzee. You know, it's sort of extraordinary how this race affects everyone. So thanks. How long have you been race director? Many years, haven't you?
It's my fourth X-Alps.
Fourth X-Alps, so 8 years. So, and has the race changed? What's changed the most in that time?
The biggest change in my eyes is how good all the teams are organized now. Much better than in the beginning. The teams were growing, so there are more people working for the athlete or working together with him. And the preparation is so perfect, and they work together in a very efficient way, and this is the biggest part of the change I'm seeing here, and this is also the point which makes the race faster.
And safer, because there is all in all there's so much experience already in this whole bunch of people, and that's what makes it faster and safer.
Because a lot of these, even the supporters are top athletes themselves, the top pilots. You know, they could probably do the X-Alps.
You see it quite often that the supporters change to athlete from one time to the other one, because they are really good and they earn some experience being supporter, and then they maybe one day switch over to be an athlete too.
We've got a question here. Someone was saying, would you ever consider prohibiting flying and saying no flying because the weather is so bad?
We did it.
You
on
did,
the prologue.
I did it exactly. There we go. Do you have, with the support teams? This obviously puts the local guys at a little bit of an advantage. Do you ever feel that that's something that needs to be addressed? So, for example, you know, teams who are coming from New Zealand. I mean, Nick Neenans, he's over with his supporter and his mum.
But you see him.
That's true.
Now
That's
with
true.
the big angle here. So he's one of the ones who could gain the second place.
Yeah, that's true.
So, so it's not about being from this part of the world and knowing this part of the world.
Yeah, he's in the 10th position at the moment. He's before Nelson de Vrijman from France. So who is a local? So you see. It's not the only thing.
Well, guys, it's thanks a lot. I appreciate you're busy and you probably want to get back to your race duty. So thanks a lot for sharing your time with the fans. And if any of you have got further questions you would like to put, just stick them in the comments, and we will do our best to get back to you. In the meantime, we'll get back to the race and all the action that's happening out there at 150 odd kilometers that way towards the Matterhorn, where Mauer is, and the Chaser Pack who are flying overhead. So tune in as always onto LiveTracking in the Facebook page, and let the fun continue.